My name is Joshua Maday, and this is Food Fiction. There is a food desert in South Dallas. In 2011, the USDA found that at least half of South Dallas is a food desert. Lots of work and research has been done on the issues of South Dallas residents face, but Dallas still needs to get serious about its work and creating solutions for the future of these communities. When we were able to look at Dallas's history and present state objectively, it is noticed that there is not enough research on food deserts to provide a sustainable solution, but that there are enough resources that can effectively fix the issue if enough attention is paid to them. We have had the opportunity to do a lot of research in Dallas, and we believe that with the resources that we have, we can knock out one of the biggest issues that all of Dallas faces, which is to eliminate the lack of knowledge and concern for South Dallas through informing North Dallas about the issues with food that their southern city-mates face. So now, I'm going to go ahead and catch you up to speed on the issues of food deserts, why it cannot be acceptable for them to exist, and why our team's solution is an effective first step for Dallas in the fight against food inequality. As we first looked to implement a solution, we had to be sure that we completely understood the environment of the food desert. The problem of the food desert is multifaceted and as much of an issue with poverty as it is access. The USDA defines a low-access community as 33% of the population being located more than a mile from a grocery store. That distance can multiply in especially poor neighborhoods where access to ready transportation is scarce. According to U.S. Census in 2013, 18.8% of people living in Dallas, Texas, live beneath the poverty line. When it comes to food, these people are limited not only by access, but in what they can afford to feed their families. Even the food that they may be able to buy will be less likely to be healthy because poverty limits them to cheaper options and only the stores that they can afford to get to. Typical transportation methods, such as cars, are much less frequent in low-income neighborhoods, and walking or public transportation can take hours to travel very few miles. These problems can escalate the size and effect of the food desert, while also having a large negative impact on the everyday lives of South Dallas citizens. Dallas policymakers have been well known in the past for their mishandling of many issues of inequality in Dallas, including both food access and transportation. In the 2013 Dallas Observer article, How Dallas Killed Farmers Markets, author Scott Reitz notes the decades of policy decisions that led to Dallas limiting the number of neighborhoods that can even have farmers markets and the prohibiting of a possible solution to food deserts in South Dallas. This situation is not unlike those of grocery stores that refuse to put a location in southern Dallas. Because of concerns from large chain grocery stores about the demographic and food culture of southern communities, the stores claim that there isn't enough opportunity for profit to locate a store there. The problems on a business or investment issue are harder to argue, but it would be impossible to deny the opportunity a business could have with almost no competition in such a large food-absent area. Transportation is a much more expensive issue. However, the necessity for public transportation in low-income neighborhoods far exceeds the actual supply for residents of the food deserts. In a 2009 USDA report to Congress, the USDA concluded that roadway connectivity is the characteristic that best discriminated among groups characterized as having low, medium, or high access to the closest supermarket. The inability to easily access food forces communities to flock to a convenience store where sugary snacks are the only choices for miles. These sugary snacks and unhealthy food options lead to the most significant issues of the food desert, which include increased rates of obesity and heart disease within South Dallas neighborhoods. It is no surprise that those medical issues are well acquainted with food deserts. Fresh, healthy foods are not often a high priority on a poverty shopping budget, and for many large families, high-carb, high-preservative foods are what make it back to the house in order to get by and sustain any eating habits for the family. A 2007 study by the American Dietetic Association researched the effects of food insecurity on children and found that children from food insecure households have a higher average body mass index for their age than children from food secure households. The children from these households are then at a higher risk for diabetes, obesity, and heart disease than children from other communities simply because of their issues with food access. These children who become unable to receive necessary vitamins and nutrients that they would normally receive from fresh, healthier foods also suffer from impaired development. This is a result of malnourishment for their bodies and causes slow growth and can result in poor educational development. These are issues in youth that cannot be reversed and will last throughout entire lives if allowed to begin. This poor development because of malnourishment will result in continuing the cycle of poverty for these children and the socialization of a lack of hope for the future of their communities. For the future of Dallas to truly be prosperous, and the future of the children from these neighborhoods to even have a chance at creating better opportunity for themselves, the issue of food access must be solved. It is these kinds of inequalities that make it hard to just sit back and not try to give South Dallas a more fair chance at a higher quality of life. But what can be done to solve these problems? After 2 years of research, our group concluded that the biggest issue that we wanted to tackle was a lack of knowledge concerning how significant the inequality of food access is in southern Dallas. To do this, we have begun working eagerly to make a documentary that will shine light on as many aspects of the food desert as possible in order to encourage advocacy for the issue and help progress Dallas towards food equality in the future. The documentary catches the experience of those living in hunger, with the opinions and facts of the issue from leaders working within the problem. The documentary will tell the story in an informative and relatable way that can affect our target audience. Speaking of which, this film will be directed at those who best fit to the issue of our problem, or in other words, North Dallas residents, social activists, and Dallas community leaders. These are people that we expect to be motivated by the documentary to learn more about their city and work to create a greater quality of life for all of Dallas. We feel that this project is the most efficient way for us to have an impact in the community without risking too much of the community's time and resources. While the documentary seeks to inform rather than solve the issue, we are able to discuss multiple solutions and issues facing different aspects of the food desert. Other programs, such as mobile grocery stores and community gardens, can solve the access issues in small neighborhoods, but as AmeriCorps Rep. Kevin McNair said in a 2014 interview, urban gardens are not able to do enough to feed their communities, but rather have their small impact in educating neighbors about healthy food options. This film could hopefully lead a food revolution in Dallas that can end the harms of food deserts. Because of the size and tenacity of the problem, we do not think that our impact can come from focusing on any single part of the issue, but that we can make some difference in forming the leaders and people with the resources and will to contribute to the future of Dallas. The size of the impact that this food desert has on South Dallas is our motivation for making the impact of our film as large as possible. We are excited every day that we get to learn more about the issue and look forward to sharing the film with our city. Thank you very much.
Good show.